Hi, I'm Stephen Yonti doing the junkyard crawl in rural Vermont with a 1957 Jeep FC150. FC stands for forward control. What might look like Frankenstein's head coming down the street on a skateboard or a helicopter cab is Jeep's design. These are designed by Brooks Stevens, who also did the 1946 Willis station wagon and the 1963 Jeep Wagoneer. Brooks Stevens, a talented industrial designer, automotive designer too. And kind of a crazy thing, these are mounted on the same wheelbase as the CJ series Jeeps, 81-inch wheelbase, which give them a very tight turning radius. The beauty of these things, it was forward control long before A100s the Chevy Corvair van had a forward control situation. But with that said, these gave you a really good command of the road and a really tight turning radius when you're either plowing snow or whatever you might be doing. And these are all four-wheel drive, no two-wheel drive versions of the FC. There was an FC170 with a longer wheelbase of 105 inches, so basically longer stands for a larger bed on the back. These are generally stake beds or flat beds or pickup trucks like this one used to be. So let's walk around. And when I was a kid, I had one of these things. It's by Auburn Plastics, and it's actually a rubber FC right here, and it actually twists because it's made out of rubber. Doesn't tear. Kind of cool. There's Frankenstein's head right there. And also Corgi took a shot at it with die-cast version right here, 1/43rd scale, I guess, maybe 1/32nd. But there it is. Kind of cool. A little cab forward FC. So put these up here, and it will open the doors and take a look inside the cab. And the cabs on these do not tilt. Some people think these are tilt cabs. They're not. Although there were some prototypes built by Willis or Jeep that did have tilt cabs, but this is not one of them. Those were never made for production. So this is a fixed cab. To get to the engine, you had to lift a little box inside of the cab, and that's the F head. It's a 134 cubic inch engine, and that's half flathead, half overhead valve. And the flathead part regulates the exhaust valves. The intake valves are run by rocker arms and push rods. So it's kind of a weird combination. The F head, 134 cubic inches, and the engine inside of the cab, made for a lot of warmth in the winter time. And of course, three-speed manual transmissions on these puppies, and high, low, and four low and four high on the shift levers on the floor in the middle there. And cab forward right there. Very efficient design for maneuvering around areas. And we'll go back here, and here's the back of it. You can see the back side of the engine with a vent right there to allow heat out of the engine compartment. And here's that manual transmission here with the linkage coming all the way from under the floor to the back. And that's the parking brake, that thing right there. Believe it or not, there's a cable. You pull the cable, and the shoes inside of that drum expand and basically allow the vehicle to stop and stay put. So it's cool. There was only 31,000 of these things built between 1957 and 66, a 10-year run. But again, 31,000, that's it. That's all. And most of them were flatbed or stake bed type pickup trucks. And, the rear axle is long gone. That's a front axle from something else. And you can see right here, this is the exposed ball type steering. The CV joints were years away. So these are kind of prone to, there's a seal inside of this. In a dusty environment, you had to keep that clean and grease it, or it would start to wear out. Speaking of things wearing out, shock absorbers also wear out a lot. There's something kind of weird. We found it's a new old stock shock absorber from when AMC, Jeep, and Renault, and there's no way they'll ever do that again, but a new old stock shock for the rear of something. And here it is right here. That's not new old stock. That's a used shock. But anyway, this is the box 2 a shock absorber from a parts department somewhere. And this is probably a 10, or the short wheelbase one right here, the 88-inch wheelbase. So yeah, there it is. The bed's gone, long gone. And kind of neat. A lot of visibility at the back right here. And again, only 31,000 of these things were made in a 10-year run, which went from 1957 to 1966. You'd think a lot more than that would have been built. With that said, there were some of these made outside of the United States, I think for Brazil, South America, and I think these were in production for many years after Jeep dropped them in this country. But again, 37,000 of these things, not a big number. So let's take a look at the rear shocks on this thing. The leaf springs are still here, rotting into the ground. But there's the Spicer axle right there. It's a 27. Look at that, a 27. If you look at a Spicer axle right there, it'll show you what series it is. That's a 27. So it's a 37s, 44s, 45s, 60s, 70s. So the Spicer axle made by Spicer Gear Division of Dana, and in many applications. Hemi rotors with 4 speeds had a Dana 60, so great axles, very strong. This is a front-wheel drive axle from some application. And that's the story of the Jeep FC forward control 150 with 150. That's the length of the overall vehicle. Turning radius on these things tighter than the Jeep CJ, and just about as tight as a Volkswagen Beetle. So these are very maneuverable, whether they're plowing snow or getting around the barnyard or a work site, whatever it might have been. And aftermarket companies would supply you with a dump body, a tow truck body, even a fire truck, a little miniature fire truck. Those are possible after the dealership, but they were installed, and very common to see these things as gas stations, as small tow trucks and fire trucks and even dump trucks. Aftermarket upfits, kind of a cool thing. So that's the story of this 1957 first year for the FC right here. And again, only a 10-year run. And not a lot of these things, 31,000 of these things were built, not a lot. So thanks for watching the video. If you want to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel, you can do that, and come back tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawls. Thanks for watching.